Hey, Grind Time Rap Gang, bang, bang, bang. Mike Bigger, a.k.a. Killer Kill. You're watching me on GoodFellaMedia with the homie Q West.
How many kids you got?
4.
Really?
Yeah.
Ages?
16-year-old boy. My God, I was his age when I had him. I had a 16-year-old boy. I had a 13-year-old girl. I had an 8-year-old boy, and I have a 4-year-old girl.
Are any of your kids into music like you?
Yeah, he's into skateboarding first and foremost, and that's just been a blessing. And he's a retro kid, and I call retro kids kids that are really investigative and caught up on 90s music. In the same way, when I was coming up in the 90s, I was hype on what was dope in the 80s and that type of stuff. Like, he's a retro kid, so he's into Outkast, Buckshot, Farside, Dell, Cube, Scarface.
He ever put you on?
Who, me? Yeah, he plays me. He likes his old man. You know what I mean? I can still remember him being like 7, 8 years old, looking at me like, we was riding around listening to America's Most Wanted. And he said, "Dad, who is this?" And I said, "Nah." He said, "Dad, this is Ice Cube." And I said, "Yeah, it is." I smiled like, shit, he get it. And he said, "Dad, he sound like you." I said, "Nah, actually, Dad sounds like Kim." He said, "Yeah." And I like that.
Well, it's great. It leads me right to my next thing. You and Cube get like so many comparisons.
Yeah.
Just because, I guess, of the fearlessness that you guys approach rap.
Thank you. I've never heard it described like that, but that's, I guess, yeah.
You know what I mean? How much, was Cube influential to you?
Shit. He's probably I look at it like me listening to rap in the 90s and late 80s. I was in school, and the instructors I was most attracted to in terms of wanting to emulate a style, and not just a style of rap, but just a lifestyle as a man, was Brad Jordan, Scarface, O'Shea Jackson, Ice Cube, Chuck D, BDP, and G-Rap. KRS-One and G-Rap. So Ice Cube, my tone is what it is, and the LA. My grandmother, I can speak like I hate to say speak like I'm from Atlanta, but like I speak like this because my grandmother trained me to speak well and not, not like she say talk down. But if I'm on the block on MLK with my partners, you might hear me talk like this, You might say, damn, Mike sound like Rocco, But, because of how my grandmother, because of the way I was reared and the way I was trained to speak, my accent, rap-wise and stylistic, has more Los Angeles inflections because their accent is essentially a Southern accent propered. You know what I mean? And I have a Southern accent, but it's propered because my grandmother was so stern about education. And it's just my tone happens to
it reflects it.
Yeah, and it reflects his. So that's one thing, because a lot of people have come out trying to sound like you.
Yeah, you just have that naturally embedded in you.
Yeah, it's just in me. And beyond that, I told him this, and I opened for him a few weeks ago, and I told him this: your music affected me at my core and shaped me as a man. Black Korea shaped me as a man. You know what I mean? Dead Homie shaped me as a man. So you can't shake that kind of influence. When you hear me tell a story, that's because Scarface shaped me as a man. So rap used to do this. Now rap don't do this so much anymore. Rap teaches you how to swag out and act like a little boy. But rap set a bar for me on how to be a man. In terms of reading and my political activity, Fear of a Black Planet shaped me to be a man. Road to the Riches by G-Rap shaped me to be a man. Edutainment, helped me to be a man. So these MCs are in me. I freestyle because KRS-One said you are supposed to freestyle. Yeah. I read because Chuck D said you are supposed to read. I'm fearless because Ice Cube said you are supposed to be. You know what I mean? And I have an affinity for the dark and the downtrodden because that's what I saw Faith speaking on. So, I'm very much a product of my influences.
With the whole Pledge series, especially this one, obviously, because this is the main thing we're talking.
Yeah.
Is this the aim, to start helping shape the future generations?
That's what I have done. I didn't know I was doing it, but that's what I've done. I think you do it, like Q was 18, so he was being honest. Chuck, was what, 20, late 20s or whatever, he was being honest. Scarface was getting it out honestly. So I think that in the first pledge, like Smith and Cash, my producer, hit me today. He said 5 years ago, would you ever have thought Big Boy and Tip would be saying grind time, rap gang, bang, bang, bang? And it's because, like, in a room, in Norcross, Georgia. We slept on the floor. We recorded a double CD, and our aim was to convince one another that we can do this outside of the major system. After we pulled that off, and I came back around to Pledge 2, then it was not about me and my crew, but me and the audience. The audience became Grind Time Rap Gang on Pledge 2 because I made Pledge 2 with the intent on inspiring people and it to be the soundtrack to their success. I want people, and I have gotten people now saying to me, Mike, every day I study for my medical exams, I listen to Pledge. I listen to the intro every morning.
God in the building. That it would go to med students?
I didn't know.
You know what I mean?
I just know my job is to motivate my audience to do the impossible in every possible way.
Okay, I got one last thing I want to touch on because I've heard you bring it up but never elaborate on it, and that's the feeling of falling off. When did you hit the point where you were like, I fell off, and then when did you reach the point where you were like, yo, I got to pledge to pick myself up and get back in it?
Yeah, I mean,
when did that happen?
Most people fall off involuntarily. I jumped off.
Really? Why?
I mean, I didn't know I was jumping into the fall off. You know, I thought I was jumping into glory, but you know, when I left, when Purple Ribbon exited business with Sony, and I chose to go out on my own, you know, away from my big brothers, Big and Dre, you know, I knew I was jumping off a cliff. You know, I just didn't know the bottom was so far down. So I hit the bottom hard. You know, I hit the bottom really hard. When you get people saying to you that, you know, I fuck with you, I really do, but I fuck with the OG, so I'm not fucking with you. And when you get that, and when, you know, the people on radio are like, you know, we fuck with you, but we not fucking with you right now. You know, when you get the audience, if I had read the internet had been this big when I first jumped off, and I had read, I wouldn't read the internet at first. Like, we only worked through MySpace as Grind Time at first. And thanks to Smiley, Ray, and Ebony, you know, the Grind Time misses, they just pumped us online. If somebody attacked me online, they went right back at it. But if I had seen that, it would have damaged me. My confidence. It was like a fighter. And I knew I had fell all the way off when it just took me too long to have the confidence to make the next song. You know, I was questioning myself, and I had never felt that before, and I likened it to a prize fighter who takes a loss. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I still didn't understand how I lost. Like, what the hell happened? And
what happened on that last round?
Exactly. So, you know, come around to Pledge 1, winning the Ozone Award for Best Street Album, and not only winning it, but walking around and having my peers say, you know, hey, nah, I fuck with the record. Keep doing what you're doing. I'll never forget when Touche came up to me, the owner of Slip and Slide, and he came up to me in the elevator. He said, hey, Mike, I fuck with you. I always have. He say, I tell people it's just like Rick. All you need is that song, and it's gonna be okay for you. So don't stop. Like, man, I walked away.
You showcased the ability to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can make that song.
Yeah.
And everybody is quite aware of it, and you're respected and revered throughout not just the South, but just altogether as one of the doper lyricists.
I'm lucky.
You know, out here.
I'm fortunate, man. I'm fortunate. But just, you know, people gave me pats on the back when I needed. Touche from Slip and Slide Records. Jazz Prince and Julia Beverly got me on the phone with Jay Prince, who's a huge, anybody who knows me knows, I bought Get Up Boys records just to hear the intro, just to hear him speak. You know, when he told me, you know, I like what you're doing business-wise. He gave me 1 or 2 words. It encouraged me to keep on. Baby, interestingly enough, Baby was in Atlanta spending some time, and we went back and forth through text for like a summer. He gave me just some solid, you can do it. And, you know, you never know whether you can do for a person who's already self-motivated.
Right person.
Yeah, and it really helps.
To make it out the ice cold streets of the city, you better have a Christopher word game with it. You better have a dance game similar to Diddy, or play B-baller but a rim like Smitty. Josh,